Hi, I'm John Newton, Snap-on John 100, and you are watching Wilderness Self-Reliance. I just wanted to show you my hammock and tarp setup that I rigged last night. It was too dark for me to shoot much video, so I just had some tea and sat around for a while and then went to bed. Stay with me. I have 1-inch poly webbing that I just tied a figure 8 loop knot in one end of it. It's 10 feet long, which is more than plenty. And instead of using a toggle, I just used a carabiner just for efficiency, or just to be quick. And so normally I would put a toggle in there, and then what's below that, this is a fixed loop end of a Whoopie sling. And I made this one out of 1/8 inch AM steel blue, which has a breaking strength of about 2,500 pounds. I used this one just because I'd never made a Whoopie sling. I thought it'd be easier to have a little bit bigger diameter than the 7/64, which is a normal size, and that has a breaking strength of I think 1,600 pounds. So this one is about 900 pounds stronger. And here is the adjusting end down here, and I just have a bury for the other end so it won't go through. So it comes through here, and then this end right here is the adjustable end of my Whoopie sling. Right here, it's adjusted pretty tight. Okay, that's it right here. And then this piece right here is what's called a soft shackle. So I attached the Whoopie sling to a soft shackle, and then my hammock has a continuous loop lark's headed in the end of it. And that was an 8-inch continuous loop that I made, lark's headed to the end. And so I have 2 loops here joined by a soft shackle, which would be equivalent to like looping it with a carabiner. This allows for a drip loop. So I did that on both ends. The tarp is a continuous line, and it's hard to see because it's so small. But I've got a really small zinget here, which is like a sort of like a figure 9, but it's a micro size. You can see by my thumbnail, it's like tiny, and that is fastened on a key ring that's on the end of my tarp, and this continuous ridge line goes through that key ring and around the tree, and then back, and is pulled tight with this, and also that pulls the hammock up tight, this end, and then that secures this end. So this is the adjustable end, and the tarp is just held down. I held it down on 5 sides. This side because this is the side I'm getting in and out of, and then the 4 corners around. And then what this is I made an adjustable ridge line on my hammock, so I've got a good, perfect, no matter what the angle is, I've got a pretty good lie or sag in it, so that I can lie flat. Then this hammock is just a plain Jane DD hammock that I upgraded by putting a ridge line on it. Oh, my water's boiling. Oh, I didn't make a fire. Oh, I was too lazy to make a fire. So what I've got here is in here is my it's hard to see. I've got carbon fiber felt here. There, now it's easier to see. This is the carbon felt windscreen, which works great, by the way. And this is the Trangia burner with the Pathfinder Canteen Shop stove, bottle stove. And this is the cup that comes with it. And over here is the Esbit burner and stove, and comes with this pan which acts as the lid to help hold the heat in, get the water boiling faster. And I'm having lasagna with meat sauce for breakfast. Let you see how it's really beautiful. I've already seen about, I think, 3 deer this morning, and I probably saw 40 last night. They were everywhere. And even some coyotes came by, were yipping and yowling. There's my setup over there. It worked out great. It was just I got here too late. As got a late start, and it gets dark a lot earlier now, so I didn't get a chance to film at all hardly, and I haven't had trouble getting that ridge line up. Oh, there's a cat, feral cat. See it? I've seen that cat here before. That's wild. That's something you don't see every day. Nothing like some coffee first thing in the morning on a cold day. Oh, it's hot. And it's cold today. It's I think it's about 30 degrees. Which is not super cold, but I'm not used to it yet. Summer was too short. So I'm letting my freeze-dried meal rehydrate. This is only the second time I've ever had a freeze-dried meal. I usually just make ramen noodles or something like that. Which is, I guess they're freeze-dried too, probably. But I got 2 alcohol burners with me and 2 stoves. This is the setup I have for this one right here. This stove goes with this cup. This stove fits on the bottom of this cup. This is a Trangias burner that I just put with it. And the lid somewhere here. This is the bottle that came with it right here. Get a lid somewhere. I don't know what happened to my lid. Oh, here it is. And then I got this lid as a Stanley, to a Stanley cook set, but it fits on there. It's a snug fit, which is kind of good because you can actually pour with it and not have it fall off. And on the regular cups like this, it's a loose fit. So all of this goes in here, and I've got a fork and spoon in there, and a fish jaw spreader to use with that, and I've got another fire steel in there too in case I need that. But that setup all goes together. Cheers. Here's to us. Good people are getting scares. Brother Chris, good morning. Salute. It was great talking to you last night. Well, I'm going to cut this off. I'm going to show you how this ridge line works with the tarp out of the way. I've got the tarp folded back, so this is the underside and it's folded back on itself. This is the ridge line right here. It's Zing-It, and it's 1.75 millimeters, so it's really thin, but it's about, I think it's 500 pounds or something like that, or 300 pounds breaking strength. It's really strong. I use it, you can have it on top of the tarp or underneath the tarp. I like it underneath the tarp. So if you look here, this goes, what I did is I took on this middle tie-out tab, I fed a key ring. It's a split ring. I fed that around that loop. But before I did that, I also put on, well, you can do it either way. Put that on there, and then I put one of these Zing-Its that you can get from Dutchware. Okay, and it's basically like a titanium tiny micro figure 9 in a way. It's it locks in that little, see where my finger is, it locks under there. So it's a way of pulling and adjusting the line. So this line, this is the adjustable side, so it's going through here and around the tree, and the suspension is in between this V. Okay, it forms a V and then the suspension goes between it. So you're going through the ring, around the tree, and back, and then you pull it tight and lock it in. On the other side, here's the continuous, here's the ridge line, and instead of going through a ring, I've got it going through a little continuous loop that I made out of Zing-It. So it's right here going through that loop and on to the tree, around the tree, and then coming back. And then I put a little fixed loop in here. You could tie a loop if you wanted. I spliced it in, and what's on the end of the splice, you can see it, is little tiny titanium hook. Also got it at Dutchware. So that's dutchwaregear.com. But if you just Google Dutchware, you'll find it. But that's tiny, and that hook is designed to hook onto this material. So it goes through, so the ridge line goes through both of the loops on each end of the ridge of the tarp. And this continuous loop is just loop to loop joined through that tab. And it goes around the tree, through there, around the tree, and then hooks onto the tarp. That way, the tarp gets pulled, so you can pull it along, when it's still kind of loose, you can pull the tarp along this ridge line, because it slides in both of these loops on each end. And then when you're ready to have it centered over your hammock, then you just tighten it down at the opposite end. So that's how that works. I just wanted to make sure you could see it and see how I did that. Okay, makes it really quick. I just was fumbling around because it was so dark, and my hands were cold, and it was that was the last thing I put up. I should have put that up first. Right now I just wanted to show you a close-up of my hammock setup without the tarp on it, so you can see better. First I'll go over my adjustable hammock ridge line. What I did was I just took the same material. It's the 1.75 millimeter Zing-It. You can Google it and you can find Zing-It online. And I spliced in a loop on one end and then all I did was I disconnected this, disconnected my lark's head, and put that loop over the end of this continuous loop, and then I lark's headed it to hold it down. So it's underneath that lark's head, as you can see right there. And so then it goes along here and goes around this one and then comes back, and then I adjust it with this. Same thing as I did for my ridge line for my tarp. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change this out, and I'm going to make a Whoopie sling type adjustment for this instead of this. It's a little more too cumbersome, but I'm going to get the next size up, which is 2.2 millimeter, so it'll be a little bit bigger. I'm going to make a Whoopie sling out of it and then use that. But what that does, and I'll get back here, it allows you to have about the same amount of sag no matter what angle you've got your Whoopie slings. So it makes it easier to set the thing up so that it's more consistent. And with this amount of sag, I am completely flat. So flat that like you don't have to worry about hyperextending your knees or anything like that. And super comfortable last night. The one thing I will say, you don't just stick your hammock up in a tree and then get in it and sleep in it, because I was having trouble for the first hour or so, and then I realized my head was a little bit lower than my feet. So I came up here and I just pulled on my Whoopie sling here and adjusted this line up to bring this side up, and then I was completely comfortable and slept like a baby last night. Let me go over how this Whoopie sling is, because this is I really like the way I set this up. It's real lightweight and real versatile. So like I said before, I've got 1-inch wide poly webbing. I just cut 10 feet of it, and instead of just having somebody sew it, it's just easier. I just made a figure-8 loop knot in the end of this. So I fed this line back on itself. Then I used the marlin hitch knot here. Instead of using a toggle, I put my carabiner in there. Here's my Whoopie sling. This is the fixed eye small end loop. Okay, that's a fixed eye. I fastened that there. My Whoopie sling comes down. Here's the adjustable portion that comes out right here. Alright, so this is the Whoopie sling that's got the berry in it right here. This is the berry section. And right here is where the loop starts. And you can see this one was tightened down pretty far because this one can get really big. But this is the adjustable loop. And what I have in here is what is called a soft shackle. And the way they work, I'll set up my tripod so that I can manipulate my hands so that you can see how it works. And the soft shackle connects this loop to this loop, which is the one that is lark's headed around my hammock to gather it in. So this one right here is an 8-inch continuous loop, and then I lark's headed around there and then attached it here. I did the exact same thing on the other end. So let me go get my tripod and I'll show you how this works. Okay, so I'm going to show you how this thing works. What I'm going to do is adjust the Whoopie sling so I get more slack. So to make, let me get this up here a little bit. To make the Whoopie sling longer, you take the adjustable side and push up on the, which is loosening the outer sheath of the Whoopie sling, and then you just pull on it. And it starts sliding through itself. There, okay. Now you can see that's got slack in it. Now, this soft shackle is a ball knot with, and this is looped, this piece right here has a loop in it. And if you see this little red line allows you to pull the loop. See how that's working? Okay, that's just a handle. And now I can take this loop and take it from around that ball. So this piece right here is basically buried. It's just a loop, but it's buried in here. And then this other end, you tie a ball knot so you have something to pull against. So you just slip that over. And once it's over, then you go up to where the ball part is, and you slide this braid. And as you slide it, the braid slides up and constricts that loop to make it very small. Okay. Okay. Now that loop is really tiny, so it can't get over that knot. Okay. So I'll hold it like this so I can see what I'm doing here. Just pull it up like this, and basically you're just pushing it down, and that closes that loop up, because basically it's reburying that line that you pulled out. This thing allows you to pull it out easy. Okay, so this is just another piece of that Zing It line that I ran through it. If you want to know how to make these, you can. There's a lot of good sites online, YouTube channels that show how to make them. I don't think I'm qualified to do that. I made mine, but there's people that make them and sell them, so they're a lot better at explaining that probably than I would be. But that's how that works. And so the nice thing about this, it forms a drip loop, so that if water's running down here, it'll drip off, and to guarantee it, you can just tie a little piece of string down here. But the other nice thing is if this part is all wet, I can disconnect this, put my hammock away, and carry my Whoopie slings in some other on the outside of my pack or somewhere else, so it doesn't get my hammock all wet. That's the nice thing about this. Okay, so it allows me just to disconnect from the tree. Please don't forget to click the thumbs up and like this video. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe, and visit my website at www.wildernessselfreliance.com. Until we meet again, God bless.